Hey there, gang. It is time for another unboxing video, and this time out we are unboxing, I know it's going to be some Silver Age DC books. I know that because this is actually the second half of a box that we started yesterday. Well, it was just a couple of minutes ago, my time. By your time, it's hopefully at least yesterday, if I got these loaded up one right after the other. But well, I guess I don't need to be that chatty right out front. Let's move this thing along. If you like comic books, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghalla. My name is Duke, and this is an unboxing video. And as I've already told you, we are finishing up a box that we started yesterday. And yesterday it was pretty much all Silver Age DC. I think that's pretty much what we're going to see today as well. So please do like, share, subscribe, comment away, do all the groovy things, and let us dig right into it. And again, just to let you know, I am grading these books for sale on eBay. That's my job. I do that about 30 hours a week, the other 10 hours or so on other stuff related to buying and selling comic books online. But grading is my primary focus, and I do that for a company that sells books on eBay under the name .com Comics. So that's where all of these books are bound. But the owner, when we get a collection in, he goes through the books, sorts out the ones that he wants to sell as what we call raw singles. So these are books that we would expect to sell on eBay as a single book lot for between, let's say, 10 and 100 bucks. I think because eBay has raised its prices, we've gone up to maybe about 120, 150. If we think it's going to be worth more than that, then we send it to CGC. And then once it's slabbed, the books are sold then not on eBay, but on a site called comiclink.com. But yeah, so he'll sort those into books that he thinks should go into multi-book lots and that he thinks should be sold as single book lots. I get the single books and I have to grade them. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing here today. And I never have any idea what is in the box until I open it up. So here's Metal Men number 2. That's cool. Metal Men number 3. And if you go to a site called comicron.com, COMICHRON, a former editor of the old Comic Buyer's Guide, John Jackson Miller, is that right? John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt? Whatever his name is. He runs that site and he tracks sales figures, and he's got a lot of sales data up from the 60s. And Metal Men sold surprisingly well the early issues. That had sales upwards and above 300,000 copies an issue, which put it in the top 15 or so. So yeah, the early issues are cool, and I think the Metal Men would work well today. As DC is looking for other outlets. I have been advocating for years, do a book with Scholastic that teaches kids about science and stuff, and use your characters that are appropriate for that. The Metal Men, Metamorpho, that would be just a great outlet for these types of characters. This will trigger people. You see, the Metal Men have formed themselves into a gun. That's scary. Now, this is cool. Strange Adventures number 155. You may not know this, and it may not even be true, but I'm going to tell you it is and ask you to go ask him about it. But this is where Ethan Van Sciver got the idea for Cyberfrog. Yep, this is the Golden Age Cyberfrog. This is the Cyberfrog of Earth 2. And so Strange Adventures number 155, the first appearance of Cyberfrog, and Van Sciver totally ripped this off. Okay, well, that was weird. I've been having a problem with the iPad that I use to film with because I do not have a camera. The battery has been dying. Well, it's dead. The iPad will not work unless it is plugged in. But even sometimes when it's plugged in, it'll just die for no reason. So picking up where we left off, and before the comic skaters start filling up my comments in defense of Caesar, let's just make clear I was joking. I do not think that Ethan Van Sciver actually swiped the Cyberfrog character from DC. I just think it's funny that there is this book with the cover feature that is all about a super scientific frog. So You know, if I was DC, if I was the person at DC who was in charge of tweaking Caesar, I would probably bring back, you know, as part of maybe some ongoing Strange Adventures anthology title, bring back this character as the lead feature. Maybe call him Techno Frog or something. Be like, sorry, Ethan, you can't sue us. We had the character first. So it would be cool to have Ethan Van Sciver do a team up with Cyberfrog and this character, whose name I can't remember, but he's named Inside. The only problem with that, I mean, has Wrecked Planet even come out yet? I mean, that's the problem. It's why I don't really support crowdfunding comic books, because I mean, you pay $25 and you got to wait more than a year to actually get the book. And I know Ethan's like, well, you know, you also get trading cards and stickers, and to me, all that stuff is just clutter. I just want the comic book, and I want to get it less than a year after I committed my money to it. So again, I would be, if I was an executive at DC, I'd be like, hey, yeah, like that crowdfunded Cyberfrog thing, but you don't want to wait a year. Here's a very similar character that we had first, and you can have him once a month. So anyway, that will probably send the Comicsgate crowd into my comments. But anyway, so let's pick up where we left off, where I think we left off. We might accidentally see a book or two here that we've already seen previously or in the last video. But this is all Silver Age DC, and if I don't sound super excited, it's because, well, I've already seen this stuff. This started about 5 minutes ago. So Batman, during his sci-fi phase, no bug-eyed aliens in this one, but it is Vikings in the apocryphal horned helmets with time tunnel technology. Here's Batman 151. Oh no, Batman's secret ID is exposed. Well, that's not a trope. Batman 157 with Vicky Vale. You don't get much of Vicky Vale. You didn't get much of her then, really, for all intents and purposes. This book must have come out, I mean, I haven't checked the timeline, but this must have come out before Mirror Master made his debut in The Flash, because this is Mirror Man, looking kind of like Hugo Strange. And I wonder if Rob Liefeld drew this cover, because those are some tiny, tiny, awful feet. And look at both of these feet are drawn exactly the same, but those are super tiny feet. Well, you know what they say about supervillains with tiny feet. Tiny hands. Actually, Batman has tiny hands. Look at Batman's hands. He's kind of out of proportion too. Either that or he's got a super giant head. That's one or the other. This is Batman 159. This is the composite Joker, and also an appearance of the original Batgirl. Batman Giant Annual number 4 with a bunch of reprint stories. And these annuals are a good way to get the original stories cheap, or at least cheaper than buying the original books that these stories were all in. You get a bunch of them in one swoop. And here's a bunch of different Batmen, and annual number 5, Rip Van Batman, Merman Batman. And this is probably the cool one. This is grown-up Robin as Owlman. Challengers of the Unknown. Here's issue number 31. And the Challengers, frankly, don't do that well for us on eBay. I am somewhat sorely tempted. Here's issue 32. I'm tempted to put these into a multi-book lot, because I don't know if these will each bring $10, even though they're mid-grade, you know. And to me, a 5, 5, 5, 6, I mean, that's perfectly acceptable for my collection for a comic book from the early to mid-60s. This one's a little weird, though, because you don't often see typeset lettering on a DC Comics cover. I wonder why that is. If they had something else and didn't like it, wanted to change it, and at the last minute, the only option they had was to do it typeset. They didn't have time to hand letter it. I don't know, but it's just a little off-putting, frankly, for me, because you just don't often see that kind of thing. And here is Challengers number 33. And another Challengers with Multi-Woman, Queen of Disaster. And that's number 34. And like I said, we'll watch those, but I'll be somewhat surprised if they get to $10. Whoops. Hit the tripod there, a little earthquake. Detective Comics number 316. Batman versus Dr. Double X. Not just single X. That would only be a villain. No, he's double X. That's what makes him a super villain. All right, what do we got here? All right, these flashes I know we all saw in the last video or two. So we'll skip those. There's another earthquake. And we'll go right to Green Lantern. And here we have the first appearance of Sonar, who was really kind of a C-list Green Lantern villain. That's issue number 14. An early Sinestro appearance, maybe second or third, I'm not sure which. And Green Lantern number 15. Here's number 17. More Sinestro in number 18. That's kind of a nice cover. One of the very many frequent team-ups with the Flash. They would cross over into each other's books quite often. This is Green Lantern number 20. This one's kind of a funky, weird cover. And again, it's a typeset lettering here on the cover. But it's really hard to figure out what's going on here. It looks like Green Lantern is attracting all of this construction material towards himself. So he does not really look like, as this typeface promises, the man who mastered magnetism. By the look on his face, he looks as surprised as anyone else. This is, I don't know if this is the first tattooed man or not. It'd be pretty cool if it was. But that's at least an early appearance of the tattooed man in Green Lantern number 23. And I've got a little bit of glare on the covers there. Just noticed that. Sorry, but I'm not going to refilm a third time, so you'll have to deal. Sorry about that. Green Lantern number 24. That's a nice cover. All that blackness of space there just really kind of makes that pop. And usually how they did this, although, well, maybe they did it this way too, is they would just they would ink the whole thing, and then with whiteout or white paint, they would just kind of flick a brush and splatter it on there. Although this looks like they actually dabbed it. These look more intentional. But anyway, here's Sonar. I think this is his second appearance. Number 25. Ghost City, number 27. I wonder if this is, all those giant cities in China there that have no people in them. I wonder if this is what's actually going on. Maybe they're actually full of Chinese ghost people. I don't know. House of Secrets, number 66. Of course, Eclipso was the big bad on the most recent season 2 of Stargirl, which is a pretty good show on the CW. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty decent. Not just for a CW show, but overall, I recommend it. And Eclipso was plenty creepy on that. This is a little unusual though, because this was one of, I won't say the first, but at least one of the first attempts to make a lead feature out of what was nominally a super villain. He was a little more misunderstood at this time, however. And then this book also contains a Mark Merlin mystery. And DC really missed the boat with Mark Merlin. They tried to make him, a continuing character. Well, I mean, he was a continuing character in House of Secrets when they went from the strict anthology format to try and have a continuing series. But what I mean is they tried to make a go of him, tried to make him popular. And maybe they should have put him in a costume and made him a superhero magician of some kind. Because Mark Merlin was around early enough and long enough that, he could well have been a founding member of the Justice League had they done anything with him, had he proven more popular. Here is Sea Devils, number 14. This looks like a kind of a gray tone cover. Those were popular around this time, mostly on DC's war books, but on a few things like Sea Devils and Challengers, there were also some, they call them gray tone, gray wash. This one's another one. This is Sea Devils number 13. And this one is interesting because in this issue, the story is, if I can remember it, it's been 40 years since I read it. But it actually includes the artists in this issue as characters. And I know there's Gene Colan and Joe Kubert. They appear in this book as well. I think there are a couple others, kind of lesser names. And they're the ones like leading the Vikings and whatnot against the Sea Devils. So it's just kind of neat for that reason. I don't know if there are any other issues. I mean, Kirby and even Ditko and Stan Lee, and certainly in the 70s in Justice League, Elliot Maggin and Cary Bates, they've all appeared as characters in the stories. But this is probably, as far as I know, the only time that either Joe Kubert or Gene Colan actually appeared as a character in a comic book story. And here's another kind of gray tone, gray wash cover. That is number 12. This is Sea Devils number 11. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on here. It looks like they're underwater. No, I guess they're on top of the water. Is there some kind of dome here? And again, we've got some Viking stuff going on in the background. I don't know. And then it's a regular Sharknado. Look at this. I don't know. I literally do not know. This is cool. I could go for a series with this today. I mean, who doesn't like, soldiers fighting dinosaurs? But this is Star Spangled War Stories number 115, featuring the war that time forgot. And look at this. We have another issue. So two of them. Now we're on to Superboy number 111, The Mental Emperor. Okay. Here's Grandpa Jones fighting Superboy. Well, not really fighting, but certainly winning in a tug of war. Number 110. This one's cool. This is Superboy number 98. This is the first appearance of Legion of Superheroes member Ultra Boy. And it's kind of funny cover because, you've got these two guys here, using their X-ray vision to check each other out. Neither one of them thinks to look at what's going on underneath Lana Lang's oh-so-tight sweater. But our pal Anthony Perdue will be in the comments, I'm sure, to let us all know about the glories of Lana Lang and her red hair and her tight sweaters. This is the Kryptonite Kid, along with Kryptonite Dog at Superboy number 99. Here's number 109 with poor Crypto, who's been replaced. That's pretty sad. It's kind of a weird, freaky TV head Krypton monster. Number 102. This is funny. Superboy number 101 with Crypto's been turned into a collie. And I'll bet you anything, the genesis for this story, editor Mort Weisinger was kind of renowned for polling the kids in his neighborhood for what they'd like to see. Not just the ones who wrote in letters, but actually soliciting ideas from the kids, which he would then bring into the office and pass off as his own ideas. You know what I think the kids would like to see? And then he'd tell whatever writer he was working at this original idea he thought of. And probably some kid said to him, well, I'd like to see Crypto as a different kind of a dog. I'd like to see, I have a collie. I'd love to see Crypto as a collie instead of whatever kind of dog he is. Wouldn't that be cool, Mr. Weiss and Mr. Weiss and Mr. Who, Mort? Uncle Mort? But anyway, I bet you that's the genesis of that. And Mort probably said to whoever wrote this story, probably Robert Bernstein or Otto Binder or maybe even Jerry Siegel, said, hey, let's make Crypto a different kind of dog. Make him, I don't know, how about a collie? This is Superboy number 100, and they are actually trumpeting that fact on the issue cover here, back at a time when publishers really didn't pay that much attention to anniversary issues. I mean, today, if Superboy were ever allowed to get back up to 100 issues, it would end up being a $10 or $12 80-page giant, at least. Moving on, we've got House... Oh, you know what? When I moved on, I didn't think to bring back... I don't even know where he is. Where'd the Flash go? He was our mascot. There he is. There he is. Probably can't even get him to stand now. Sorry, a little late. We got like 12 books left, but let's bring back the mascot. There's Flash. All right. So House of Mystery number 135, and this was during an era. House of Mystery started off as, well, we can't really call it a horror title because it did launch in the era of the Comics Code Authority, so it was more of a mystery suspense title. But it transmogrified at one point into a sci-fi title. I don't know what the mystery part was, but this is during that time. There's some pretty freaky aliens. They would come up with some pretty cool Well, just as I say that, these are weird ass fucking aliens with beaks, cyclop eyes, weird unibrows, those weird ears. They're kind of like beaked cyclop tyrannosaurs with extra big feet. But why do they have gloves? Why would this alien race that clearly doesn't wear any clothes have a need for gloves? It's just stupid. Wonder Woman number 140. And you can see on this one, now you can understand how other editors at DC who didn't actually read the Wonder Woman book, but only saw the covers, could get confused. You would think that Wonder Girl was a separate character. You've got Wonder Tot, Wonder Girl, and Wonder Woman. But in fact, as we've said before in past videos, we've talked about this. These were actually just 3 stages in the life of Wonder Woman, and she was able to team up with herself and have adventures with herself. That sounded dirtier than I meant it. Wonder Woman having adventures with herself. But through the magic of Amazonian science, or whatever the secret was. But you would look at this cover and think that Wonder Girl was an actual separate character, and of course she wasn't. So when they started using her in Teen Titans, it was up to the readers to remind the editors that, hey, you got a problem. So that's how they had to come up with inventing Donna Troy, deciding that, oh, no, Wonder Girl actually was an actual character. So here's World's Finest Comics, number 133, with kind of a tornado tyrant kind of a deal. This cover always cracks me up. Now again, you've got some really kind of cool aliens, and this is an era, artists today could kind of learn a thing from the aliens that the artists at DC came up with during the early Silver Age. I mean, today you just kind of get your Star Trek forehead bump aliens, but these are kind of cool. But what cracks me up about this cover, though, is this kind of pygmy Robin. Like, he's completely adult proportions. They're just pygmy size, and he looks like he would, at that height, he'd be maybe about, 6, 7? So he's not just the boy wonder, he's the child wonder. Here is World's Finest Comics number 137 with a fairly early model looking Lex Luthor. But I think by this point we're fairly deep into the Silver Age. Although, to be fair, the Silver Age started in different places at different times, and Batman himself didn't really enter the Silver Age as far as his look and the overall theme and style of the stories until DC redid a contract with Bob Kane, and they were allowed, I don't know if I could say allowed, but felt more comfortable anyway about updating the character. By that point, the Silver Age was almost over. Here is number 135. Saved a little bit of money on coloring for this cover. Number 136. And again, common trope, somebody's secret identity is revealed. Oh no, the horrors. Here's a trio of supervillains you don't see often. I don't know what their names are. I don't know if I've ever actually read this one. But it does include a big Green Arrow adventure in this issue. That's number 134. This is 132 with Batman and Robin taking on Superman with a trebuchet. But luckily they happen to have a kryptonite rock to throw. The Crimson Avenger. This is not the hero Crimson Avenger. This is the different villainous Crimson Avenger. DC's own Crimson Avenger had been gone for many, many years at this point, and it would be several more before they would revive him. That's number 131. Although it's weird that his henchmen have these little octopuses on their hoods, these octopi. I don't know. Again, it's another one. It's been a long time since I've actually read this story, but I don't know what the Crimson Avenger has to do with octopus. But anyway. Now this is a weird kind of an alien. I don't know how he's shooting laser beams or whatever it is out of his shoulders. But anyway, that's number 130. 129 with a rare Joker Lex Luthor team up. And look, they've atomized Superman. See, those are atoms. And this is it. The last book in the box, or at least at this point where we're going to call the last book. I don't know if I missed any. But this is World's Finest, number 127, featuring the Sorcerer from the Stars. And again, look at these groovy, groovy aliens. That's cool. Okay, that's it. That's take two. That's those books. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had fun. Come back next time. We will wrap it all up together and do it again. Not these same books, of course, but a new box. We'll open up a new box. And until then, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.